Welcome back to Celebrity Radio. It's Alex Belfield talking to some of the biggest stars and some of my favourite people. And a man who I have admired and respected for many years is called Shaun Williamson. He's in musicals. He's done it all from Guys and Dolls to Never Forget. And he's currently on the road with this brand new show called Love Me Tender. And Shaun joins us on the phone now. How are you doing, Shaun?
Hello, Alex. Yeah, very well, thank you. All good.
It must be great to be you. I tell you why. You're one of those people. You've been around so long and you're still doing it and you're still successful. It's fantastic. Congratulations.
I've been very lucky. I'll tell you why. I didn't get into the business till quite late. You say I've been around forever, but I didn't start acting professionally until I was 30. So it was only 21 years ago. I went straight from drama school into Eastenders for 10 years. So, it's an incredible amount of luck involved.
But it must be great being you, because, I mean, the amazing thing is you've had a consistent career, haven't you? And even though you started at 30, I mean, you've had this remarkable sort of gig after gig, which is rare.
Yeah, well, as I say, I was very lucky to be plucked literally from drama school to go into Eastenders for 10 years, I never had to be the young, good-looking actor who then had to make the transition into middle-aged parts. As soon as I got into Eastenders, I was sort of balding and overweight, so I've just carved out a niche in that sort of mould, really, But and I'm quite lazy. I mean, I've got no real game plan. I wait for the phone to ring and say yes. That's my tactic, really, and stay cheap.
I think that's a great shtick, and it's very funny and all of that, but actually underneath all that is a great discipline and a talent. I mean, I've seen you sing live. Your voice is powerful and it's popular. You do the clubs and things like that. What are you best at then, an actor or a singer?
Well, I always regarded myself as a singer who got lucky. I mean, my first foray into the world of entertainment, I was at Pontin's Blue Coat, and I must have been 24, I suppose, and I found out I had a sort of ability to sing, and then it all went a bit downhill, really. Sort of started enjoying myself too much with the old liquid, and I lost my way a little bit, and then I went down to the Amateur Dramatics when I was 26 because someone told me it was full of single women, and I just found I really enjoyed acting, and I worked very hard on it as an amateur. I tried to get into drama schools and they always said, no, go away. I worked very hard, and I was just about to... I worked at Safeways at the time, as the Weinsteins, I was just about to become a manager or go onto their management scheme, and I had one more go at getting into drama schools, and one of them said yes.
It's extraordinary. I mean, a proper journalist would pick up on the fact that you talked about alcoholism. I'm not going to talk about that. I'll talk about the women. How successful were you with getting the ladies? Because, I mean, it must be sexy being you.
No, it was great fun, and when I talk about drinking, I mean it's all under, I got it under control very quickly. What happened was when I managed to get into drama school, I realised it was my last chance saloon. I realised this was a real heaven-sent opportunity for me, and that if I didn't make the most of it, then I didn't deserve anything. So I really knuckled down from the age of 27 to 30. I literally virtually stopped drinking. I got a steady girlfriend, and it really I worked very hard and managed to turn it around, really, because it's difficult. You go to drama school and there's all sorts of ages there, and a lot of them have been involved in acting since the age of 11 or 10. So I really felt like a sort of outsider, and you have to learn, as well as acting skills and singing skills and all that, this sort of etiquette as well, and this sort of this code, really. There's a sort of code, to be a member of this club. And I spent 3 years sort of immersing myself into that world, and then luckily, as I say, I got into Eastenders, and I always wanted to be a theatre actor, and then I got into Eastenders for 10 years, never did the theatre once, so I was absolutely desperate to do theatre when I left, and I think I've just done my 25th show it is in 11 years.
It's remarkable. And of course, aside from the theatre stuff, which you're so popular at, I suppose what most people know you for, well, is either the stuff through Ricky Gervais or Eastenders. Which shall we talk about first?
Well, if you could talk about Eastenders first, but yeah, I was so lucky because the Ricky Gervais stuff kept the ball in the air. You see, when you leave a soap, you have to have something to go on to, otherwise people... a lot of people fall into this black hole. Don't get me wrong, I know a lot of them, they're working, they're happy, but the public think that, a soap is such a popular thing. It's watched by, it was watched by 20 million when I was in it, because it was before Sky TV and laptops and all that. So if you don't go into something of an equal standing, it seemed to be a shortfall. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
I was very lucky that the Ricky Gervais stuff enabled me for a few years anyway to keep the ball in the air.
And again, I mean, the thing about that is you're able to laugh at yourself, and there's sort of this introspection about it. Was there ever a point when you went, ouch, this is a bit too close to the knuckle, or did you just see it as parody, or didn't you care?
I did care, but I think very early on I realised how big this was going to be. I mean, I was a huge fan of The Office, so I knew Richard and Stephen were sort of touched with a sort of genius, and I thought, yeah, I want to be part of this. And then when I realised, I mean, don't get me wrong, you know, I was looking at scripts where Ben Stiller was sending himself up ridiculous and Kate Winslet, and I thought, well, they can do it, I can, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So in the end, I was giving them ammunition in the end.
And at least you didn't get your arse out like Les Dennis.
No, but it didn't do Les any harm, did it? You know what? Les went from, and they also put him in. They also very kindly put us in Life Too Short with Warwick Davis.
Yeah.
Myself and Les and Cheggers, and I think Les went. I'm not sure the order, but he went something like Spamalot to MasterChef to Coronation Street. You know?
Exactly.
Everybody who comes into Ricky and Stephen's orbit very rarely do badly out of the experience, you know.
Isn't it interesting? I was just watching that Bob Monkhouse thing this week, and it seems like show business is cyclical. You go up, then you come down a bit, then you go back up, then you come down, then you go... It's never sort of a level playing field. It might be for Tom Cruise, but that's about it. It's interesting how you have to sort of fight to have a career, and by doing those sort of little shows in between, it can buy you another 3 years till your big next gig.
The thing is, you have to keep appearing on television, but the other problem is, if you're offered a year... You see, I've worked every week since March 2014, every week, because I do pantos as well.
Yeah.
So I haven't had a week off, and I'm not moaning. I think it's the opposite. But it's all been stage work. I was very lucky enough to make a film in Hungary with Adrian Brody, but apart from that, you know, it's all been stage work, because you either take the offer of a year on stage and a steady wage, or you can sit at home with sweaty palms waiting to be offered an episode of Midsummer Murders. Do you know what I mean? So,
yeah.
As you say, there's very few lucky people who literally just go from one stage show into a nice Talia series and then back again. You probably think of the likes of Robert Lindsay, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Maybe, and I'm sure even he moans at times. So, yeah, you know, I could do it getting back on TV now. You know, I'll make no bones about the fact. But someone comes along and says, you know, here's another, because I went from One Man, Two Governors into Panto, then back into One Man, Two Governors into Anything Goes, which came off early, and now into Love Me Tender, which hopefully will go to the West End. Then I've got a panto booked, and then from January, it's anyone's guess. But you know, yeah, it's difficult to I don't know to hit the right medium where you're balancing all forms of the industry, you know, at once, you know.
I was talking actually to Charlie Brooks just very recently, and she was talking about you've got to be very careful with the saying yes to reality after reality, because you just become sort of a laughing stock. I notice you don't do too much of that, do you? You don't really get involved in that.
No, I did something in 2007 for Comic Relief. I sang something for Fame Academy, sang on television, but that, you know, I didn't get paid for that. And apart from that, I've cropped up in the odd thing where, you know, you sort of nipping a grand here and there just to, you know, to do a bit of fun. But when you talk about serious reality TV, no, I haven't really done any. So I've managed to sort of steer away from it. But as I say, you're only one bad touch return away from it, you know.
And then let's talk about Love Me Tender, the new play that's touring the UK. It's coming to Wimbledon next week and Stoke the week after. Looking forward to seeing you there. This was done on Broadway originally, and it's a feel-good musical. You've got Meetcha Paris, who's probably one of our greatest songstresses ever in history. And it's an uplifting show, isn't it?
You know what? It's fantastic. I'd just like to make the point that it isn't an Elvis tribute night. It isn't the story of Elvis. What it is, it's more like Dirty Dancing or Footloose. It's a very funny and moving play anyway, with 22 of Elvis's songs in it. So, you know, if you're an Elvis fan, you're going to love it. But if you're a fan of, you know, just musicals like Dirty Dancing or Footloose, you're going to love it as well. I just want people to know that, because I think a lot of people who aren't die-hard Elvis fans might think it's a tribute night and won't want to come along. It isn't. It's just his music interspersed in a really beautiful play.
And again, you get to show off in it and do what you do best. Vocally, how much of a challenge is it? I mean, do you enjoy the songs within it, or are they tough?
Well, I love them. Unfortunately, I do 2 duets, which I thoroughly enjoy. I wish I did more. But I'm part of about 8 songs because there's a lot of really big choral numbers. But I just love the music. I've been a fan of Elvis since I was 8. I learned all of his whole catalogue when I was 10. In fact, because my dad had a box set of his albums. In fact, when I turned up at rehearsals, I knew every line of every song, because it's not just his famous ones. There's some of his back catalogue that he just performed on stage, very cleverly worked into it. So for me, it's a thrill to be part of it. And also, Meetcha Paris sings a love song to me every night. So, I remember when I bought her albums, I was stacking shelves in Safeway. So now I get a free concert every night. It doesn't get any better, really.
No, life could be worse, couldn't it, than having Meetcha singing at you? We haven't really talked much about Eastenders because I wanted to focus on you as an artist more than being defined by Eastenders. But when you have those moments of finding yourself front page, how do you keep your feet on the ground in those moments? Because the hysteria of some of those Eastenders storylines is extraordinary, isn't it?
Looking back, it's like it happened to someone else, Obviously, when you're in it, there's very much a focus on you. There were 20 million people watching it at the time. So the next day, 1 in 3 people in the street saw you on television, and it's quite an odd feeling, really. Obviously, that dissipates so much that now it's still an incredible warmth out there for Barry, but it's very warm. People will come up and say hello, but obviously you're not in the show, so they can't really ask you about that anymore or what you think of it, because so it just becomes like a very fond familiarity. And all I can say is back to when, I was in the mix of it. It just seems like a dream now for someone else. It's just really odd. And a lot of people say that to me. When I say that to them, they say, I feel exactly the same way. And I think it also goes so quickly. Yeah. It really is like it's a strange feeling, really.
I remember Oprah Winfrey saying that you never evolve as a person until you're present. The trouble with being present is you're so rushed at the time and it's so sort of incredible that it's hard to sort of take it all in. I suppose now with time and perspective, you look back and realise how remarkable and what a privilege it was to be part of that huge soap.
Yeah, definitely. I wasn't arrogant, but I didn't appreciate it at the time. I had 2 young children as well. I was very busy on standoff. So life was very full then. But as the great John Lennon once said, life is what happens to you while you're busy making other plans. You know what I mean? Yeah,
exactly.
You're always thinking about the next thing. You're always learning the next script. You're always thinking about the next thing, whether it be personal or professional. And before you know it, something's over, and you might not have appreciated it at the time. And that's the human tragedy, really.
I've got a feeling your work, whether you're on EastEnders, whether you're in a musical or whether you're playing a club, I mean, you just love to perform, don't you? And that's the thing about you, whether you've got an audience of 2 in front of you or 200 or 2 million, it doesn't make any difference.
Yeah, I hate not doing anything. I'm one of these people, I'm a moment I'm busy and a moment I'm not. So, but I'm a feeling that's not a very good place to be in either, I don't know. I'm always grateful when the phone rings. As my old mate Paul Ross used to say, I've got an answer phone message that says I'll do it.
Yes.
So yeah.
How's Paul doing, by the way? He's had a tricky few months, hasn't he?
Yeah, he'll bounce back. He's an incredibly witty and a professional man, and we're all allowed one mistake, and he's still got his radio job, and bloody good luck to him,
Good for you. I'm so pleased that you're still around. And again, in this conversation, the question I'm left asking is, are you content and happy now? I mean, that's the question that seems to come from this conversation about a career in show business and you're still in work. Do you think you'll ever make it content?
No.
Wow, that's disappointing, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, but that's the way I am.
It's a shame, though, because you've achieved such mega success. From my perspective, sat here interviewing you, I look at your CV, and even if you stop now, it would still be an amazing life and career. Do you appreciate that?
No, not really. That's just the way I am, I don't know. I don't know what it is. I'm writing now. I've got a literary agent, and I really think that would be my crowning achievement, to just get something that's out there, that's in print or on television, that with your name on as a writer, because I think one of the worst things about being an actor is it's a very passive industry whereby you rely on other people for your living. Yeah. And I think the only way to achieve true contentment is to produce your own work and be your own boss.
Mm. But you can appreciate the things you've done are magnificent, or not even that?
No, I don't think it's magnificent. I just think I've been judged as a decent, solid and dependable actor. I still feel that I've never acted to anywhere near my capacity. So I want to do that before I die. I always used to say that it's been great fun being in the soap, but it means the RSC or the National Theatre are never going to come knocking on the door. And then lo and behold, I've got a year and one man, two governments for the National Theatre, on tour. So never say die, but I'd like to. All right, I'd like to get something out in print and play Uncle Vanya. There you go.
All right, good. And you want to play Shakespeare or Brecht or Harold Pinter? What is it?
Yeah, all of it. But because you sort of trained on it and you're brought up on it at drama school, and then obviously you know when you go into a soap that what you're doing to yourself. Otherwise, if you don't, you're sick. And you realise that every time that you re-sign a contract, that you are stereotyping yourself. And anyone who says they don't is all over the fairies. So I did that to myself. 10 years, all right, I had a young family, and you're trying to, the money is very handy indeed, and I'm very grateful for it. But you know what you're doing to yourself.
In hindsight, do you wish you hadn't have done EastEnders?
That's a difficult question. I really don't know.
Sounded like you were going to say yes.
I wish I was younger and was in a position to do without any financial ties, and was in a position. I would say to any young actor, do 2 years, make an impression, get out.
Right, that's the key. Is it get in, take the money and run?
Sort of thing Tamsin Outhwaite did. As much the money, just make an impression as an actor or actress.
Yeah.
And then get out, and then something like, I can't think of many more. Something like Tamsin Outhwaite, she only did a couple of years, made a big impression.
Even Ross Kemp, I suppose.
Ross is in a position to exactly what I was talking about, which is where now he is very much, I think he's very much hands-on with his documentaries and brings out the books of them, you see.
Yeah.
That's the difference. He doesn't need to act again because he can be his own boss.
Well, I think you should be less hard on yourself. I think you've had an amazing career, and I've really loved talking to you. Shaun Williamson, thank you for your time.